Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the UKLC. We just had Fnatic get handed their first loss by a team that wasn't XL, and it was Barrage to take them down. We had a fairly lengthy discussion at the end of that game about that game, so I kind of want to shift the focus towards our next matchup of the day, NVision versus MnM. Both of these teams tied in the standings so far, and so far Barrage are pulling off what everyone thought NVision were going to be pulling off.
Yeah, I think that's what hurts more, is everyone looked at NVision's roster and went, these guys are going to do it. You know, they've got ex-Fnatic components. They have Yusa and Nulty from the MnM roster, which were closest to challenging them. And Adept, who actually so far has looked pretty solid. But ultimately, it just hasn't come together. They've struggled. The execution's been a little bit off. Even in their wins, there have been things that have looked rough, like against Phelan, getting 2v2 killed bot lane with Soraka ult up and it not being used. So that was questionable. But either way, this is a chance for NVision to beat out, you know, a roster who MnM, they've struggled to find their mark. You know, I feel like going up against Phelan, losing that one is a big hit. I felt like they should have come out ahead there, but Phelan looking better on the day, more consistent. Here, NVision, again, on paper, I feel like they edge out above MnM, but MnM, they definitely want to try and challenge them here. Both these rosters looking to move up the echelons and sort of get close as they can to that 4th place spot. Because at the moment, it looks pretty locked up between XL, Fnatic, and Barrage. And I think, obviously, things can change. We have a whole nother second round robin and even one more game of this first round. So there's opportunity for it to change. But right now, MnM and NVision, this is the first step to sort of climbing up that ladder and getting back on course to make it to those playoffs.
And if it's you want to challenge glory for MnM as well. That's the key thing for them. Is like, while NVision are obviously this team that are built up with so many components of so many strong teams previously, MnM were previously the team that was in that 3rd spot. They were the team that was hot on the heels of these academy teams, and now they're really starting to struggle as they've shifted out a few of their members. You know, 2 of the members are against them on NVision right now, Yusa and Nulty, going up against their old team. But picks and bans are now rattling through. We got the Ziggs, the Cassiopeia, the Olaf, the Yuumi, and the Syndra. Last band will be that Soraka, so once again, we get an actual top lane.
Yes, I love seeing it.
Next week 10-3, 10-4.
Yeah, 10-3, 10-3. So we have...
Thank God.
No,
no.
We're still
10-4's
10-4's where they're fixed, is what I'll say. But for now, we're still on 10-3. They'll still be in play next week. But for now, teams are banning it, so I like to see NVision quickly locking in that Lucian as a flex. Can see it go bot lane, but Adept, he's the sort of player, he liked that Tristana in the mid lane. He is the sort of person I can imagine playing that to get that early aggression. Often what we see from NVision is super aggro mid jungle, bot lane a little bit more scaling, and then a weak side top laner for Shikari. Although we have seen a little bit more aggressive picks come out for Shikari so far, so could see something different. And that matches up pretty stylistically accurately to MnM. Mid jungle, soften Chimera, they like to play that early aggro matchups. Bot lane a little bit more scaling, and then top lane often left to its own devices. So it could end up being some sort of a mirror match, which is where draft can be really important. And MnM, they're going to pick up that Aphelios for a Chew. So not going towards the majors we typically see from him quite a bit. Obviously, Ziggs, one of those banned away. And then the Aatrox from Mummus coming in. Will Shikari answer with the set? We did see him play that yesterday. And despite the fact they got wiped kind of heavily with that, still picking it up. But Nulty going to come in here with the Sejuani.
So much. I just prefer this so much to what we had yesterday from him.
What, you mean the Kayn?
The Kayn. Yeah, I was like, I remember he played something that was kind of in.
Okay, that's fair, but I feel like that's like me saying next week, right? Dan picks Sejuani, and I go, oh, I prefer this so much to the Fiddlesticks, and it's like,
but
well,
like, it's
well,
true
obviously,
though. Of course, yeah.
Obviously, I mean, the reason they picked the Kayn was to try and counter the Sejuani. It didn't work at all.
It didn't work at all.
But there was a thought process. Here and now, though, they're going to go for Braum to go in tandem with Lucian, so great lane there, and then Braum Sejuani. This is skirmish heaven. This is hold hands together. We've seen the Leona Sejuani from Fnatic Rising, but Braum Sejuani was doing it before they picked it up. It was when you have the double stun passives. I would like to see a melee mid laner come out here. We see Leona picked up for Aphias. I think Aurelia has to be banned away here. Really powerful in tandem with the Sejuani. I would expect to see that as an early ban for MnM.
Oh, MnM are on the banning side now. What are they going to take away? Is it that Aurelia? There's also things like the LeBlanc being left open. Obviously not melee, doesn't stack up as well with the with the Sejuani, but it is a good blind pick.
Yes.
That's the Aurelia band away. There you go.
That's what I like to see. Get rid of that one. NVision looking to ban away some of these early pressure junglers we know Soft likes. There's the Elise. The Olaf already taken away. Lee Sin, probably the second ban for NVision. For MnM, it depends really where you want to look towards. You could look for a top lane set ban away from Shikari. You could throw another one mid lane if you want to deny the likes of that LeBlanc, or even go for something Yasuo if you think Adept's going to go with something crazy. I know he is a Yasuo player, so he could bring that one out. Actually going to go for the Diana there, so another melee mid laner, but not the one we were necessarily thinking of. Could set up NVision to go for a Yasuo mid lane if they felt like it. But for now, LeBlanc actually going to be banned away from NVision, so I like this because there's potential to... It's really hard to pressure LeBlanc if you have like a Sejuani plus melee champion, or even just a Sejuani in general, because of that distortion, and Chimera's shown he's pretty competent on it. So right now I'd expect MnM to come in with a jungle pick here and then leave mid till last pick for counter. But they could go in a different direction if they want to keep Soft's options open. But Lee Sin seems like the likely candidate just to come in here. But actually going to go for the counter, go for the Trundle. So the reason this works effectively as a counter is you just steal the stats away from the Sejuani. If she has a Frost armor up, then even when it goes down, you've stolen the initial armor that was available, and you can become extremely tanky. Now for NVision, that Lucian obviously is a flex. We could see it going mid or top. The question's going to be what will be picked up here. And
that's
NVision
a fairly old Keep team if ever I've seen one.
Yeah, they're going full glacial here and now. Yusa going for the Ashe. So a lot of control. Going to be a little bit difficult to protect, but it means there is so much CC available to this trio jungle bot lane.
Yeah, you feel like as soon as that level 6 comes through, MnM have to play with an insane amount of caution. Now NVision looking for their final pick, looking for a top laner for Shikari. And he looked in the Akali here. Now, Akali has been on the back of a few nerfs, so the first part of it is a point and click. And while you say, wait, skill shot to point and click, that sounds more like a buff than a nerf, but actually it means you can't use it defensively to get away. You have to use it on a champion initially. Then the second part is the skill shot side of it.
Yeah, not convinced by this Akali. It's a melee champion, so it sets up the Sejuani passive. Be interested to see where things end up going out, whether it's going to be the Akali mid or top, but with heavy nerfs to this champion on 10.3. Because it's not just the targeted ult, they also changed her Shroud to not give constant movement speed, only when it's thrown down and then it decays. And also, I believe her energy costs massively moved up, which is like one of the biggest hits to her, because basically her the 5-point strike, it costs an extra like 20 energy or even more at every single level. So really in a rough spot. I'm actually surprised to see it come out here. A little bit of an interesting draft come out from NVision. They definitely have early pressure in the mid lane from Adept up into that Victor, by all means. And that's why I think it's interesting in contrast to MnM, because MnM typically we see aggression from the mid jungle, but they haven't really gone for that. They've gone very much for, we just kind of outscale you in the later stage of the game by a massive point. NVision, though, their mid game is pretty solid, and they have a lot of skirmishing power based on their CC.
Yeah, there's a lot of CC on this team. I'm really excited to see how this is going to play out, because to be fair, both these teams have relative team fighting. You know, the Trundle is a classic counter pick to the Sejuani with the fact that you can use the Subjugate to steal away. Also, Nolty's taken the Aftershock. So if Soft actually uses the Subjugate at the right time, you actually give him negative stats.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if he gets enough armor from that, especially with Aftershock as well, if he throws his ult out, plus Aftershock and has a Frost armor and you steal it, you can really chunk it out. Overall, I think MnM have adapted well to what's been picked up by the side of NVision. My only real concern is sort of the mid lane. Could be a sort of a black hole of pressure. Interested to see that Aphelios Achu didn't opt for the cleanse, opted to go for the heal. Might be a little bit difficult post 6 to keep him safe. We obviously saw last game, cleanse being the primary thing picked up, and a lot of these Ezreal Yumi combos as well. But we'll just go for the heal, so a lot of opportunity to go toe-to-toe in the skirmishes, but post 6, little bit vulnerable for him.
Alrighty, well, we're learning into the game nice and soon. It's pretty more standard comp here from MnM. I mean, obviously the Victor's a little bit more exciting, but we saw Faker playing it in the LCK earlier on in this week. Lucian mid is it's one of those things we've been talking about, because it is a flex pick that we've been seeing people threatening quite a lot, but I think this is the first time we've seen the Lucian mid so far in the UKLC.
We haven't seen Lucian mid much. It's been banned away quite a lot. We haven't seen, I mean, it doesn't get played a ton bot lane. because obviously there was the big three that was sort of like holding him back in terms of their power that we saw traded off. He did rise up in priority because obviously we saw big nerfs to Senna, which has essentially pushed her out of the competitive meta. And MF and Nephilios got tiny tweaks to turn them back. But for now, Adept, we've seen him go very aggressive in the mid lane. We've seen him do that on Tristana. We've also seen him do that on Aurelia. Another champion to do that is that Lucian. And not the greatest jungler to sort of go in tandem with that, because obviously Nulty can't stack his passive up with a ranged champion. And Sejuani not the most aggressive gank at nearly levels, especially when Chimera has cleanse. But we'll see how this plays out. Looking at Adept, try and challenge Chimera in this situation.
Defensive line getting started up to start this game off, though. As I need a team willing to go for that invade. I'm actually somewhat surprised because you obviously have quite a heavy CC team available to the side of NVision, but they decide, don't want to risk it, not going to step up. And actually, delayed invade is coming out from the side of NVision. Although it was spotted out by Chimera, so they should be able to split the map at this point. As Yusa looks to start this up, spotted out on a ward. Scribes will spot it out as well, so I mean, looks like they're just going to have to split the map here.
You can't mess with the level 1 of Sejuani Braum. And it looks like Soft isn't even going for the option to split the map. He doesn't want to leave his bot side vulnerable. And he will actually find Nulty on his Grump here. Nulty still has Smite, so can't deny that. Right now, Prospect taking quite a bit of damage here from the...
They're
looking to complet.
Coming in.
Yeah, look.
Nulty does have an Arctic Assault to clear the wall. Flashes over. And now Fias actually jumping back around here. But Soft, he may have been a little bit too aggressive here. That's a lot of CC. A lot of skirmishing power. His first blood gets picked up for a Fias. Achu can get stunned up. And in comes Adept as well. Achu flashes over the wall. And Fias, he's next to forwards. He gets stunned up and taken down. Adept gets the kill. And Vision just punish MnM.
So, something we talked about in the draft was how powerful the skirmishing power of this Sejuani Braum is. Here's Soft wasn't listening because he flashes straight in that situation, gets CC'd for a couple of seconds and goes down, and then the cleanup afterwards is very easy for NVision to capitalize on. Ultimately, Soft wanted to defend his jungle, but he opted into a fight he was not going to win, and NVision able to clean that one up. Even a kill going to the pocket for depth for his roam down, so perfect scenario for them.
Shikari is going to take that Infernal Chains, and Mumus just really punishing him here on this Aatrox.
So this bit didn't change with Akali. It's just, I mean, the main thing is the energy cost on the 5-point strike is a pretty big hit, and obviously the safety later on. I think the Shroud is probably the biggest thing impacting Shikari right now. The fact that you don't have that extra movement speed to sort of juke around and dodge away from Mumus's abilities. So you get some initial movement speed, but then it doesn't like refresh constantly when he's within it. Is a big difference maker.
Shikari is actually now bleeding out fairly heavily in the CS department down there, up in this lane, sorry. 17 to 21, Mumus stepping forward and tries to steal away with a Darkened Blade.
Also, it's a Smite at least, so that's something. You do see some aggression coming in now. Chew and Fire is able to find priority and they're looking for Adept.
Adept has flash though, and he's still pushed up towards his wave.
Yeah, he's a Lucian as well, so pretty hard to gank him. But they are looking to get some congestion here on Nulty.
Yeah, they have actually found out Nulty. Remember, Nulty flashless, but he's fine. He just walks it out. MnM do burn a little bit, but they're not actually able to steal anything.
No damage really there. And talking about stealing, the ult from Trundle not there to steal away those stats yet, so very little you can do in that regard.
Shikari actually now trading back into Mumus. Shuriken Flip is blocked up by that minion. Yusa has a big wave. He's shoving into a Chu. 29 CS to 9 at the moment, but looks like a Chu should finally be able to catch something here. Obviously, how hard the rest of his team lost out in that skirmish just cost him heavily in the lane. And Adept now seeing if he can make something happen topside. Yeah,
he walks over a ward, so he's just going to go for the reset. Apply some pressure, but nothing really else. Chimera been holding up pretty well in the mid lane. Obviously, wasn't able to match that roam, but to be honest, all that did was hand over the kill to Adept. It didn't really change the outcome, I would say, of the skirmish, except maybe securing Fias' fate. But for now, other than that early skirmish, things pretty slow-paced.
Shikari, every time we look up this wave, he is getting shoved in. His health bar is lower. Mumus did a pretty decent job of kind of controlling the Akali here in this lane. However, that Infernal Drake is the first Drake up, and The priority for NVision is in this bot side, so they do have the pressure down there. Now, MnM's taking a fair amount of damage. Sorry, doing a fair amount of damage to Shikari. This is what we saw. MnM was, while he was here in the spring split last year, he was one of the best top laners we had in the
and he forced
the league, and he just forced Shikari to flash away.
Yeah.
Shikari is a player we think of as a bit of a brick wall of a player. Like, he doesn't really give too much up, and at the moment he's giving up a fair amount.
Yeah, and he didn't have a Shuriken flip or a Shroud available there. It's interesting to think about how much the changes would be different if he was playing older Kali. Oh, Adept found out here. Where's a Fires?
Yeah, looks like they're trying to turn it here, but Adept, but Nulti is able to get away.
I think it's one of those things where it's hard to really measure the difference. But ultimately, MnM's doing extremely well in this matchup so far to punish. CS even, but that flash now down for Shikari. And the big difference maker was Shikari burnt TP to get back to the lane. MnM didn't. So they have that to help apply more pressure onto the map.
The Infernal Drake is up, and you can see that NVision want it. They're trying to fight for it as much as possible.
Which is bold, but you can see Shikari actually walking down now. They need him to do this, because if a TP comes in, there'll be a numbers disadvantage if he wasn't walking over.
Well, the Hawk shot will spot out Soft, so they know what's going on. Looks like MnM are just going to have to give this objective up. Next Drake up is an Ocean. And NVision do pick himself up the Infernal Drake.
Which is fine. I think in this situation, you don't need to contest this Drake. If NVision are putting so much effort into it, just let it go. You do have scaling advantages on your side. So it's fine just to turn that one over. You would not win a skirmish there, I don't feel, with the Akali roaming down.
Yeah, Yusa actually did hold the wave as well, bot side, so he was looking for a bit of a freeze. He's extending massively far ahead of Achu at this point in the game. He's got himself the attack speed boots from that early kill and assist he was able to find himself in the bot lane, so a lot of extra attack speed, so if he does want to get onto these turrets, he will be able to chip away at these plates, but for the moment, it's a denial game for him. He wants to deny Achu. Achu's recognized this, and he's now switching up to the top side of the map, not only because of how much he can't match up to Yusa, but also because that Rift Herald is spawning, and Drake is already gone.
Yeah, really not having a good time, this bot lane of MnM. And obviously the skirmish hit them, but this is a huge discrepancy to have in the 2v2. The fact that Yusa's already level 6 is such a massive difference, and they are here early. They are going to get a plate here and force Shikari off the tower, but ultimately doesn't necessarily mean they'll get that Herald. That still is up and on the cards. It's not even spawned yet is the big thing. Shikari's going to move up. Just get this way, but I like the denial move coming out from MnM. They get some plates because they're first on the swap. They get some gold in the pocket of the 80 carry, but still pretty weak compared to Yusa and Prosper, and by pretty I mean significantly.
Well, Rift Herald has started up here by NVision. They just switch everybody up to the top side. I gotta pick this up nice and easy. MnM, they swapped over to get themselves these plates and first priority onto the Rift Herald, but they are not able to actually contest it any more than this. So Yusa,
I mean, it was a 2-level gap between both members of the bot lane is a significant thing. I mean, if the ult comes out from Yusa, you're just dead. So obviously unable to sort of contest that. Just here to match them on this side of the map, but Yusa and Prosper are doing a pretty solid job to continue the punishing after that first skirmish. Obviously, the range advantage of Ashe makes it extremely difficult to deal with her. And ultimately, she has, once the slow from Prosper lands with the Winter's Bite, she has pretty good follow-up to keep stacking that. And Aphias, not really that useful in terms of peeling for the Aphelios. You have to go in with your own body. And if you do that, you're just setting yourself up to get CC locked. So this Ashe pick working really well for Yusa.
What's really interesting is they're actually not going for a hard shove. They're slowly pushing this wave up. There is a freeze that's been broken here. And the key thing for me on that is the fact that instead of like using that Rift Herald, they just got to try and get themselves some plates and some first Tower of Blood nice and fast. They're looking to extend the CS deficit, looking to keep Achu behind Yusa.
Well, there's two elements to it as well, as you can stack up the wave and potentially look for a dive. And they are potentially threatening that with Nulti there. You can see Sop has to hug.
Nulti's 6.
Yeah.
Achu is only level 5 and Yusa's level 7.
Sop has to hug here, but he's been spotted on a ward, and they have no ultimates available to them, while all the ults are available for NVision. They're not going to engage yet, being a little bit cautious. The pillar can be a powerful tool under the tower, but they get a plate already.
Meanwhile, Chimera uses the gravity field and the Chaos Storm onto Adept and Nulti.
They catch him on rotation. Actually, no ult used.
Yeah, flash used by Chimera, though, and his ultimate. So
they keep the Glacial Prison, that's big. That's big to keep threatening this dive. You can see Nulty actually going to go for a recall now, but they've been threatening so consistently up on this top side. This is usually an indicator of wanting to get in position for that next dragon spawning up. Now, because Achu and Aphias are clearing up these waves, they're going to be late to the bot side of the map. Ping's coming out on that top lane tower. I think the call might be, give up the dragon, we'll trade towers on the opposite side of the map. Because they're definitely going to be way too late. Dragon's coming up in a minute. You can already see if you look at the minimap, 4 members of NVision streaming down mid lane to then rotate over towards that dragon. But actually, decision's been made for Yusa to head up and catch that top wave. A little bit of an interesting one.
It's a strange one there because the wave is going to probably die out before he gets there. So we'll get a few of these minions.
I mean,
none of them.
Yeah. He's been pinged out, so they're aware that Yusa's not on the right side of the map in this current situation. If MnM want to contest this dragon hard, they can, but ultimately they're just going to match or choose hover it. He looked like he's walking towards top. Now he's coming down. They're kind of deliberating. What's our response to this? We didn't really expect it. We thought Yusa would come straight down, but he just shoved that wave on top, and now he's rotating. And with dragon up in 10 seconds, I think you fully afforded that.
Yeah, it looks like he's able to join up with the rest of the team in time.
I think the big thing was that MnM weren't willing to contest. Even with the information that Yusa wasn't there, they were too slow and unwilling to force in through the dragon area.
Arrow gets thrown out, connects into Soft.
Ambitious.
That's the enchanted arrow down, but they still have a fair few amount of these team fighting tools available to them. I think it's just enough to send the message there from the side of NVision.
Yeah, we could have killed you. We just don't want to.
You're not worth it. You're not worth me burning the mana.
Yeah, so Mama's going to head up top side, get a wave there, and actually put some damage down on the tower.
Getting a mountain cloud as well here in this game. Pretty nice for the likes of Yusa, who is an immobile lady carry. I mean, he has some kind of...
It's huge on Lucian as well, because it gives you so much speed when you're popping that culling in. Nulty going to throw it on the Herald just as it was timing out. Just going to essentially get some plates mid lane. 4 members grouped up for this.
Yeah, remember, there is no arrow still, so there's no... With outside Nulty using his ulti, they're not really going to look for this dive here, so only get themselves 2 plates here in this lane. Yusa not going to get that third.
Yep, giving some time though to Achu. He's just farming up the side lane in this situation. Definitely things are looking rough for MnM, but not too bad right now. I think the deficit between the bot lanes, although it's still very much there in terms of gold as well, and there's 40 CS difference, the level gap has closed by quite a bit, so definitely less concerning than it was before.
I look quite comfortable in this bot lane now. Building towards this Blade the Ruin King. Both Adept and Yusa are building towards that, so Soft's going to be able to steal, obviously, these stats, and he'll be relatively tanky, but there's going to be a lot of health percent damage getting thrown onto him in this game as well, so has to be careful for that, as Adept's been to base, got himself the Bork finished up. And Yusa, you got to think, won't be too far behind him on that item either, as he also buys his. And there's also Shikari now rocking the Executioner's Cooling to cut through Mummus's healing as well.
Yeah, picked that up pretty early. It's normally sort of an essential when you're laning up against the Aatrox, just to mitigate the healing damage healing's able to get off. Things slow down a bit. You can see lane assignments now for NVision are to put that bot lane in the mid section, and with 2 plates left on that tower, can definitely threaten it. Critically, Herald spawning pretty soon, so they can look to translate that into just finishing off the mid tower if they're given a window. But in response, Achu and Aphias down bot are holding up against Adept.
Oh, that's the arrow. That's the CC. The cleanse gets used, throwing out the Chaos Storm. Prospect gets caught in a freeze frame, but he does not die down there. Chimera picked up, lost his cleanse, and Adept, he's going to try his best to try and stop Achu and Aphias from taking this tower. This might actually just be first tower blood over to MnM.
It's pretty big considering they get that. If you take in everything that's gone on so far in this game, for MnM to be picking that one up is quite something, and it's just the speed at which Achu can take towers. And the fact that they kept him in the bot lane, and Chimera does suffer for that. He was flashless in that situation, and the cleanse wasn't enough. You now see NVision heading over to secure this Herald. They can use this just to blow open that mid lane tower, and that's where they can start to expand control and look for these side lane out of towers. But they need the wave in place to do so beforehand. And right now, Aphias and Achu are shoving up and kind of denying that. See pings coming out. I think they're trying to make a path on Adept here.
There's a teleport coming in behind him as well. Adept.
This is Mummus.
He is caught out right now. Mummus looking to run him down. Adept doesn't know where to go. He didn't expect that to happen as the pillar is massive. Adept just trades out for a bit of damage onto the tower, but he loses his life. And there is no response so far, but Nolte will drop the Rift Herald top side to give this gold over to Shikari to give another tower for his team. Meanwhile, he's heading back towards that mid lane where the arrow is back up and available nice and soon for Yusa to use.
Absolutely, and he can just chain the cooldown. Hasn't gone for the Essence Reaver build, preferring the more damage behind his Ashe and more mid-game spiking. But still, ult isn't on super long cooldowns. Can just throw that at any target steps up. Remember, Chu didn't opt to go for cleanse in this situation. He didn't have an out, essentially, for that. Soft and Chimera are going to move up to try and steal this Rift Herald.
He's going to get his charge off. Ooh, Soft catches it.
Stops at mid-charge. That tower kept healthy, but now they're looking towards mid lane. They have 3 posturing, no cleanse available. I think they just get this one.
Yeah, Moonlight Vigil gets thrown down early. It's the Gravitum to follow. Solar Flare comes up. A lot burned.
Mummus is
not
flanking.
a lot of health used so far, but Mummus is on that flank. And they are able to stop them from taking the tower, but they cost them a lot of ultimates there for MnM and NVision. They can be fairly happy with that. They didn't really burn too much. They can reset. It's 40 seconds until this Mountain Drake comes up, and they may look just to try and get that objective.
Yeah, this stack of dragons this early for the side of NVision is huge. They're actually posturing. You've got to be so cautious of an Ashe ult coming in, but she's low on mana, so Yusa won't do so. They get mid-priority. They're going to go for the reset, and then look to be here in time for that dragon. But they might be a little slow, actually. I think MnM could potentially just rush this one on spawn.
Nolte and Shikari are coming through to make sure that they can contest it. Yeah. Remember, there's also the long-range Ashe arrow that can come down just to help someone. And already barreling towards it. Both the Scryers get popped and spot everybody out. Shikari's going to catch the mid wave, and
ultimately
Adept is pushing up in this bot lane once again.
Waves massively favor NVision here. So bot's pushing in, mid's pushing in, look top, and there's a big wave that Mummus has to catch, and he doesn't have TP. You want to contest this third dragon, but I feel like MnM haven't set up to do so. It looks like they respect that as well, and they aren't even going to contest this one. It doesn't mean that NVision get the soul, but it is soul point. It means every dragon from here on out you're going to want to contest, because the Mountain Soul, I feel like it's just flat tankiness that adds to all your members. It's going to make Sejuani extremely strong, but also just the shield.
Oh, arrow goes a little wide. Yusa actually not going into the Essence Reaver at all. Looks like he's building into his Hurricane as his next item, so cooldown reduction, not quite there. Level 11 will come through soon, so it'll be a shorter cooldown as of next level. But they tried for the play there for NVision, and actually, looks like Shikari may just have to give up his topside turret. The cost means that bot lane turret should fall to Adept, who's pushing away. He gets that one, and Yusa just holds the mid lane for the moment. Crossfair's coming up as well, but I don't really think they want to contest right now.
I mean, I think the minions just get this, so this tower's essentially gone down. And MnM hold them pretty well so far, I'd say, to be honest. Considering we thought NVision, they had a huge control over bot lane. There was a massive lead for Yusa. I mean, there still is. But mid as well, particularly, we're concerned about the Lucian's pressure. Ultimately, hasn't been that significant. They are now breaking this mid tower with that. That's all the outer towers down. So they're in a good spot to keep accelerating this game. But it definitely hasn't been a defeating early game going up against MnM. And there is obviously huge scaling components. Aphelios, Monster in the late game, the Victor as well for Chimera. Right now, NVision looking to establish control in the jungle of MnM, but they are being contested, at least for this red buff.
Well, red buff will be picked up by MnM. No real contest there. Adept still got this wave in the bot lane. Yusa's got this wave in the mid lane, and the 1-3-1 is starting to get to a point where MnM really, what do they do? They've got to worry about this this Mountain Soul, in 3 minutes time, and they're just being shoved up in every single lane, and now they're potentially looking for a dive onto Chimera. Yusa has the arrow. Nolte's over the wall. He will get spotted out on a ward, but he's able to clear it away. The Moonlight Vigil gets thrown down along with a Chaos Storm.
A little bit ambitious.
Nothing really burnt. They just walk away from it.
Yeah, a little bit ambitious. They couldn't really punish Chimera there because he has the cleanse and obviously Flash as well, so able to just make a huge gap. And the rest of the team could collapse, but ultimately pressure keeps being applied, and now you have to be concerned
They're jumping in. That's going to be a lot thrown down, but Chimera holds his life. Burns the cleanse, and the culling will cut him down. Adept finds that kill, and now NVision should be able to get this tower. However, a collapse is coming through it, and Fias does have the ultimate. Glacial Fissure gets thrown out in a nice chokehold. The Astro will connect. In comes Shikari, though. Goes into the Shroud. Mumus is getting cut down, and Prosper is able to find that kill. Shikari tanking the tower for his team as he steps away. Fias gets stunned up, and that'll be the end of the tower. NVision find a kill and a turret.
Not really sure what that fight was from MnM. I mean, you've lost your victory already. Achu was nowhere near. It's essentially just a bruiser and 2 tanks trying to cut through a Braum and a Sejuani, which was never going to work. Feels like MnM getting a little bit desperate here. And now they're 4,500 gold down. Dragon Soul spawning in a minute 45. 2 item spikes for Adept and Yusa. MnM, I said they have the late game, but they haven't been able to take a single dragon. They're down in gold. They haven't hit big item spikes. Really not looking good for them so far here.
MnM's hope is maybe they can trade the Baron while NVision are doing Dragon, but the problem is it only really takes Yusa to go do the Dragon. He doesn't actually need to do it on his own. So if all of MnM go over to the Baron pit, they're in for a lot of just poke and damage, and they'll get zoned off while the Mountain Soul gets picked up on the other side. You can see that the Vision is getting placed down by NVision because they're fearful that MnM might start up the Baron if they go for the Soul. So they're making sure they have the Vision to play with there. You can see that Shikari has his teleport, so he'll always be able to get into the area as long as the wards are there for them. And MnM doing their best to try and contest that Vision for themselves at the moment, but they're not able to do so. Meanwhile, NVision just go, you know what, screw it, let's just do the Baron. They've got 2 Blade the Ruined Kings. This will melt.
I mean, this is that big spike. They have a tank who can absorb the damage. They can potentially set up to turn from this. They have the engage from the Ashe as well. But if MnM don't contest this, they'll just do it. But I think they're looking to turn right now.
Yeah, in goes Shikari. The teleport's being thrown down. MnM, it's their time to do this as the Baron is already melted through. It's taken down. And NVision just walk out.
Ultimately, soft, no flash, not able to get in. The blast cone down.
They're pinging towards the Baron here. Arrow's already been used. So the Dragon, the arrow's already been used.
Though. I feel like with Baron recalls, NVision are going to be able to get here in time.
I don't know if MnM want to fight this. They're setting up in the Death Brush to see if they can do something. Achu has the right guns to cut through the Dragon, but the collapse is coming down, and MnM, they have to do this fast or they will die. Nolty looks to come over the wall, spots them out on the ping. In comes the help of Prosper. The Cataclysm gets thrown down. Sorry, the Glacial Fissure, along with the Chaos Storm, as Dragon remains aggroed here, and Nolty tries to go in time. He's not able to get the steal. It's actually secured by Chimera, but the fight is started up. NVision chasing down. Shikari looking for a pick. The laser's going to burn onto Shikari's health bar a little bit, and the fire's very, very low. Ultimate not available to Shikari quite yet. And you can see Yusa trying to come in on that flank. He will take a little bit of damage, but gets a big old slowdown, and Nolty chasing. The gravity field will catch out Shikari mid-jump. And luckily for MnM, they deny the Soul, but they have not got the Baron.
Yeah, but they wasted a lot of time from NVision. They get the Soul. Those waves that NVision had built up are essentially wasted.
Yusa?
Overstepping a little bit there, Chief, and ends up burning his flash. But ultimately, yeah, MnM, they go for a risky play. That could have been the game if they just all died there, or at least put them so far behind they had no chance of getting back into it. But they get the steal from Chimera, and the waves end up getting wasted, and they buy a lot of time. You can see now the push coming in. Chimera will cleanse.
I see that cleanse already. Arrow burnt there by Yusa. Turret will fall here. It's the second to last tier 2 turret. Big wave starting to stack up in that top lane as well, so they may just send over Adept or someone else to go catch that wave. But for the moment, MnM struggling to clear through these waves. 25 minutes on the clock. The gold lead 6,000 in favor of NVision. And Adept just poking over the wall with the W. Looks like they're going to back away for the moment. Shikari, he's quite happy just to shove in this top lane, in this bot lane. While the 1-3-1 with the Baron is starting up, and MnM, they've shown that they're not capable of dealing with this without the Baron. Now they've got to deal with it with the Baron.
Yeah, definitely makes things tricky, but they did buy a lot of time. There isn't much left on the Baron of NVision. The gate's coming in.
Jumping onto Achu. Achu has to heal to stay alive.
It's a lot of damage from just a Sejuani.
Shikari actually looks to get blocked out, uses the stopwatch to buy some time. Jumping in as Prospect, gets himself a 3-man Glacial Fissure off. Yusa trying to fire away, but he's low on mana. The wave in the top side's pushing in, and Chimera is able to find himself a kill onto Prospect. Yusa trying to kite his way away. The Darken Blade's pretty big, and Adept slides in. That's the turnaround here for NVision. Aphias is being cut through as well. The Permafrost won't even be needed to use as Adept finds himself a double kill. Now he gets stunned up by the Graviton, tries to jump away. Chu is burning down, and he lives. NVision find themselves the turnaround. It's a 2 for 2 in the long run.
So little HP there for a Chu. It looked like MnM started to find some ground, but they overcommit, and Adept once again saving NVision. Couldn't shoot in that fight. Soft,
Soft.
A little bit careful. The Ashe does a lot of damage to. The Baron has now timed out. NVision unable to break the base, although they took every tower outside of it. Actually,
they're still trying to break the brace.
They're still giving it the best effort.
Break the base. Get my words out eventually. Break the brace was what I said there.
Break the brace.
Break the brace.
Yep. Huge goal disadvantage. 7,000 between teams. 2 minutes.
This is what we expect to see from NVision coming into the season.
And take a look at the goal differences. MnM's still ahead in his lane matchup, but everyone else massively behind, particularly this mid lane. Dep's been able to farm up a Storm, and he's really been performing well for NVision consistently. He's been finding advantages on these early aggression junglers and killing MnM.
Yep, Adept. Gonna pop the Zhonya's, the World Ender time's out. Adept's actually low on mana, so he can't actually go for anything
I think
else.
he was a bit concerned about MnM's next rotation of cooldowns. You saw that 500 damage sweet spot, and he was like, I'm good, Chief. I'm just gonna leave that one to you.
I feel like if he had the Essence Reaver and he had more mana, he might have tried that, but decides better of it. Gets himself a Phantom Dancer just flat off this base.
It's level 16 as well. Hugely ahead of everyone else.
It's caught out by the Moonlight Vigil. This time, he doesn't have that stopwatch available. Just start buying time within the Shroud as the pillar's being used. Prospect blocks up the Unbreakable, and Shikari, he's out of there.
Yep, gets chunked down, but it's not the worst thing that can happen. He does have TP. 40 seconds on this Dragon. It's sold for NVision if they get it, and Baron is spawning shortly after. Either team who clean aces this fight or comes close to it will get the Baron on the back of it. Right now, MnM have posture towards it. Potentially looking, and TP comes in. Engage.
Teleport's coming down. They're looking to throw everything out. Arrow's already been used. Aphias getting jumped onto. The Chaos Storm looks to rip through Nulti, but Nulti's just way too tanky. The health bars are already low. Shikari's got an assassination off in the back line, and 2 members of MnM have fallen. Shikari goes down, and Prospect looks to jump in to save the day. Yusa trying to run soft down. Meanwhile, Adept and Nulti find themselves a kill onto Chimera. The flash goes out as Aphias flashes away. This will be sold for NVision and probably Baron.
Yeah, there's nothing really he can do in this situation. Soft is trying to sneak a recall, but if he gets found, he will go down. He does get it. That definitely means the Dragon Soul in NVision's hands. Adept's just going to push it mid. He's self-sufficient. He doesn't need his team. And take this inhibitor. Soft, very little you can do to try and stop this. Level
11 to level 16. There is no way Soft can contest this. I doubt even with Aphias, who is just about got a Solar Flare back. That's going to be Baron Soul, Mountain Soul over to NVision. Yusa actually not rotating with his team to go and get their hands onto this Baron Nashor. He wants to pick up the blue buff and steal away a lot of camps from Soft. Keep him behind in this game. They might just go for a reset and then look for Baron.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a slow one. And ultimately, Soft still being alive means they aren't instantly going to rush for the Baron. Resets will come in, but Adept now, level 17, 5-1. Doesn't quite have enough money to finish off an Essence Reaver, if that's what he's going towards. But super strong right now. And MnM, late game, they definitely have a way back in this game, but I just don't feel like they're going to give the avenue to get back in a late game. They're now dealing with that extra shield on every member from NVision. 8k gold disadvantage. Huge backline carries. It's definitely a rough one for them right now. And NVision, they're looking to push up mid, apply that pressure with the wave.
They don't even see the point of risking their lives for this. They've got a massive wave to work with.
There's no way you push through the Nexus Tower. So they just want to push up the wave, ensure it's deep. So MnM have to catch it just in front of their base wall, and then they can rotate through the red side jungle. They've seen the members of MnM. That was a critical thing. They saw Chimera, Chu, Aphias, and Soft. And now they can start walking through and get NVision. I'm going to try and contest this.
Looks like the Baron's already been started here. Prosper
flash
spot them out.
top.
Yusa and Prosper doing the zoning job. Adept and Nulti doing their best just to cut through the Baron. MnM collapsing as 5 here. And it's really hard with these mountain walls. Yusa will take the Gravitum Solar Flare. Ultimate comes down as well. They get themselves a good old knock-up. That's going to be the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. That's the CC Wombo combo. MnM's health bars are being cut through, and Prosper, he will fall in a 1-for-1 fight. Meanwhile, Yusa is just melting Mumus's health bar as they find themselves a second one. It's a 2-for-1 in favor of NVision.
Ultimately, weren't able to disengage. You can see as soon as NVision opted into the fight and Nulti and Adept flew over the wall, MnM were like, right, we stopped the Baron, let's back away. But they weren't able to do so. They do take Shikari out, but they lose 2 members for it, and the Baron's going to go down. Adept, Prosper still pushing here.
Yeah, well, Adept's doing so much damage, even with 3 members versus him. Prosper gets slowed down by the gravity field. The laser's going to burn him a little bit here, but Adept able to walk away. Baron continues to be hammered away at here by NVision. Yusa doing some serious damage. Prosper looks to come over the wall to make sure he can tank it for Nulti.
They're waiting for Shikari to spawn.
Oh, very
He's
smart.
coming up now. They'll finish the Baron off. 5 members have it. Sets up very well for that 1-3-1. Things looking rough once again for MnM. 10,000 gold down. Baron on the table. And they'll be able to use that pressure to set up for that Elder Dragon spawn in 3 minutes. The game doesn't end off this Baron. It will off the Elder. Question is, would MnM be able to contest that one? I think that's something they'll be asking themselves. Adept, level 18. Capped out in that regard. Closest is 15 from the solo laners of MnM, so a huge disparity. He's got 4 items and the extra crit cloak as well.
Yeah, the Infinity Edge was what was finished up for him. Same for Yusa as well, opting in for as much damage as possible. Looking to snowball. Shikari gets caught out once again. He doesn't have any way to get out of that one, and a Chu will take him down. Shikari not had the greatest game of his life here.
No, definitely not. Kind of been this sort of loose end for NVision. Getting caught out, rotating. A little bit rough. Not a typical thing we see from Shikari as well. And it just delayed the pressure. The 1-3-1 really can't come out. That's an extra lane of Baron minions negated by MnM. And it just buys some time is the main thing. So a bit of an oopsie daisy that MnM are happy to be able to find.
Adept actually doesn't spot in and see that ward. There's a Chu now building towards his Infinity Edge as his next item. But seems like he's a bit of a ways away, and NVision now just pushing up in this bot lane with 3 members, Prosper, Nulti, and Yusa. 2 tanky boys to make sure that Yusa doesn't get caught off, because Yusa's going to be able to put out some serious damage into these members. As Adept, he's quite happy just to push away, take this inhibitor. Chu throws out the Moonlight Vigil. Mumus has popped the World Ender as well. They're putting a lot into killing Adept here.
You don't win this.
And Adept is just smashing them. Has the culling. Mumus is going down. He actually flashes forwards. 1 versus 3. He finds himself a double kill. And now with Fires, he's just going to get run down. Adept has to jump away from the Chaos Storm. They're now looking to collapse on with the laser beams as he is going to get pinned up and taken down. But the rest of the team come in. Nulti will pick up that kill. And somehow a Fire Adept just takes out everybody. It's so rough for his team.
He's done enough. The Baron minions are pushing in, and Chimera going to go down.
Yeah, Chimera can't do anything. They don't even need the Baron to end the game. Shikari will burn to the laser beams, but he doesn't mind. It's a sacrifice worth making as NVision find themselves back on the boards, taking down MnM in 33 minutes.
Pretty convincing one coming out from NVision. Felt like they had the early pressure. As soon as they found that skirmish advantage, they punished MnM so hard. The disparity in the bot lane. We were seeing such a massive CS lead in the 2-level lead when Yusa was 6 and Prosper was 5, and a Chu and a Fires were 2 levels down.
Yeah. Things
just looked really doomed, and they never found their footing back in the game. Felt like NVision playing better. There were definitely still some mistakes, and MnM not really on the level of the academy teams that we'd hoped NVision would be challenging when they came in the split. But it's good to see them come in with a convincing win here, although Shikari doing his best to try and prevent it.
It's weird to see Shikari being that player where he's having, he's the one having the rough game, because Shikari's normally the one who, even if the rest of the team having a rough game, he's still kind of neutral is probably the best way to word it. Shikari Wasn't his best game, but it didn't really matter. The rest of the team were playing very well around him, and he was playing weak side. You also have to take note of that. Normally, when Shikari's playing weak side, he's not on something like an Akali. He's on something that can absorb that pressure a little bit better.
Yeah, and I think with the nerfs to Akali as well, makes absorbing the pressure a little bit more difficult. Obviously, less safety with the ultimate and the shroud. When you do get caught out by all the CC, you're essentially stuck. Yeah, I think is a big thing. So that was a difference maker there, but ultimately wasn't enough. And I think Adept has been consistently popping off on this team. Some games he is set up for success, but they pick in these aggro mids and he just gets so fed on them.
Yeah, it was just a really, really good game overall. NVision, finally we see Yusa kind of return to that form that we saw back when he was rookie of the split. Because his, you're right there, buddy.
Had the mute button covered.
Yeah, good job.
I could just feel it welling.
You know, Yusa hadn't really hit the mark for me for a little while. His summer split was very underwhelming. His spring last season was insanely good. Back when he was on Diabolus, and you think about how many times when Diabolus' backs were to the wall, and Yusa just like would step up and like 1v9 a game. But for summer, when he joined MnM, he didn't really seem to find that mark at all. He had some big shoes to fill, and I don't think he filled those shoes. And then he joins this very stacked roster of NVision. There's a lot of, you know, historied players, a lot of players with a lot of kind of experience that can kind of teach him a lot. Yeah. And it didn't look like a solid start, but he did step up to the plate in this game, 2-0-10. So looking a lot better.
I think for me, Prosper and Yusa looked way more consistent in this game. We've seen them look a little bit rough. They were given an inch. They took 7 miles from the enemy bot lane, so that was good. Nolty looked solid on the Sejuani, so maybe here returning is a good omen for him, because the Kane definitely didn't hit the mark, even though I respect him for bringing it out. And ultimately, NVision looking like, yes, they had a very rough week 1 with those 2 losses, but they really are coming back pretty considerably. They're now 3-3, so they have their match next week to sort of settle the first half of the round robin.
Yeah.
It's not been obviously the greatest thing they've hoped for, but they managed to equalize. And then it's about coming back with a force and challenging in the second half and trying to get to that 4th place playoff spot, because they are looking pretty formidable. Yeah, I think solid performance from them. There's not really too much more to be said. And I think as well, because Demise went out above Phelan, they've actually been able to pull ahead of everyone. They're now 3-3. MnM, Phelan, and Demise all 2-4. So it does put them in that fourth place spot firmly, but very tenuously.
Yeah, I firmly, definitely not the way to describe it. They're there
firmly
now.
As in they're not sharing it with anyone.
Yeah, but it's
tenuous
still
as in
very,
1 point off.
Yeah,
so.
It's still any team could catch up and overtake them.
Of course.
It takes one bad week, and you know the middle of the pack will just kind of blow open again. So that's what I'm enjoying about this scene, about this season as in general, because you know with the tower we had
2 teams towering above the rest.
A system that didn't really allow for the games for like things like this. But now we've got, you know, a double round robin, which really allows us to kind of measure the talent and the capabilities of these teams better, because everybody plays everybody twice. You get a good understanding. It's nice and easy to kind of go, okay, Barrage actually took on XL pretty well there, and we know we'll see them again. It's not like they'll just dodge them for the rest of the tournament. They have to fight them again.
And you get the comparisons as well. You can say, okay, this is how the first matchup went. How does the second go? You can see the changes have been implemented, how the team have grown, or maybe some issues that have sort of shown up and start to be exposed. I think that's the interesting about it, is you have that direct comparison, whereas before it's kind of by chance whether you played a team multiple times. So I've just really enjoyed it.
In some cases, Demise, you take on Fnatic like 8 times.
That was actually...
It wasn't Demise, was it? It was... someone took on Fnatic like 4 or 5 times. Anyway.
XL?
Let's have a little look at our schedule for next week and see who will be playing who. This will be starting up on Tuesday. We'll have Demise taking on NVision to start the day off. That'll be a doozy to watch. Then we have Fnatic Rising taking on MnM. BTXL will be taking on Phelan. We rounded the day out with Barrage versus Enclave. Enclave really not cutting a break here.
Yeah, so game 1, I think 2 teams on an upswing. It'll be interesting to see that one play out. The other 3, there's definite, you know, we don't have a big 2 in the UK anymore. We have a big 3 at the moment, with Barrage up there as well. But it's definitely sort of, can the underdogs challenge them, how much they can give? Even today when we had Enclave against XL, which was the undefeated team against the only defeated team, Enclave showed some potential. They showed what they could offer and put a little fight into it. And that's the main thing that I love to see. It's like, yeah, I'm not asking teams to just beat out XL, Fnatic, and even at the point Barrage, but it's just showing what you can do, giving a little bit of a push, and at least challenging them is the main thing. So I love it when we can see that coming out from teams.
Well, we'll have to see what next week has to hold. But as for week 3, we are done with the UKLC. We'll be back on Tuesday, same time, same place. So until then, good night, and we'll see you later.